FBI in the Atlanta area making a major drug bust.
750,000 pills seized
to distribute synthetic controlled substances into Middle Georgia.
At 5:47 a.m. on June 10, 2025, a quiet suburban street in Gwinnett County became ground zero for the largest fentanyl seizure in American history. What federal agents discovered that morning would expose a $410 million Chinese cartel pipeline that had been poisoning Georgia's neighborhoods for years. The scale of this operation dwarfs anything law enforcement has seen before. What they found hidden behind those perfect suburban facades will terrify every parent in this country. If you want to see how close this came to destroying your community, keep watching. The investigation reveals a conspiracy that reaches into every American neighborhood. For 18 months, something sinister had been growing in Georgia's safest neighborhoods. Homes that looked like the American dream, $800,000 properties with manicured lawns and two-car garages, were actually industrial death factories. The investigation began when Detective Mike Rodriguez noticed a pattern. Overdose deaths in Gwinnett County weren't random, they clustered around specific neighborhoods. Teenagers from good families were dying from pills that looked like prescription medication, but contained lethal doses of fentanyl. Rodriguez started mapping the deaths, and every pin told a story of a family destroyed. The pattern revealed something else. This wasn't street-level dealing. This was industrial-scale manufacturing. At 5:47 a.m., FBI Special Agent Sarah Martinez led a team of 47 federal agents toward a brick colonial in Johns Creek. To neighbors, it looked like any other family home. The Johnsons next door had watched the quiet Asian family come and go for months, never suspecting anything unusual. The residents kept to themselves, and the only thing anyone noticed was the constant humming sound, like an air conditioner running 24/7, even in winter. The breach command cut through the morning silence as tactical teams shattered the suburban peace. Inside defied comprehension. Living rooms stripped bare and converted into chemical laboratories with industrial-grade ventilation systems. Bedrooms transformed into pill-pressing operations capable of producing 50,000 counterfeit pills per hour. Basements lined with storage containers holding enough raw chemicals to poison half of Georgia. The neighbors thought they heard air conditioners. In reality, they were listening to death being manufactured next door. Agent Martinez had raided cartel labs in Mexico, meth houses in rural Georgia, and crack operations in Atlanta. Nothing prepared her for this level of sophistication. This looked like a pharmaceutical facility, not a drug lab. Federal agents uncovered an invasion so massive, so well organized, that it had quietly colonized entire sections of Georgia's economy. Comment exposed if you're still following this story. This gets much darker. While Agent Martinez's team processed the Johns Creek facility, 127 other federal teams were simultaneously hitting targets across Georgia. This coordinated strike targeted what investigators called the most sophisticated drug empire ever discovered on American soil. The operation, codenamed Poison Garden, had taken 18 months to plan. FBI analysts had identified 47 separate locations across metro Atlanta, each playing a specific role in the fentanyl pipeline. At exactly 6 a.m., the largest law enforcement operation in Georgia history exploded across the state like a shockwave. The Alpharetta raid targeted a $1.2 million mansion where Chinese chemists had been cooking industrial quantities of fentanyl. The homeowner, Dr. Wei Chen, was a former pharmaceutical researcher who had entered the United States on a student visa in 2019 and never left. Agents striking in Duluth discovered a logistics hub disguised as a trucking company called Southern Freight Solutions. Inside, $23 million in cartel cash vacuum-sealed inside fake toner cartridges, ready for shipment back to China. The company's books showed legitimate deliveries to major retailers, providing perfect cover for their real business. The Norcross operation revealed a nail salon called Perfect Nails that barely saw customers but was processing $2 million in drug money weekly through an underground Chinese banking network. Customers who did visit reported that half the nail stations never seemed to work, and the staff spoke in hushed Mandarin whenever anyone entered. Marietta agents raided a seemingly legitimate import business that specialized in cleaning supplies and industrial chemicals. The warehouse contained 200 drums of chemicals, ingredients shipped directly from factories in Wuhan. each drum capable of producing massive quantities of pure fentanyl. The most shocking discovery came at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport. The busiest airport in America had become the cartel's global distribution center. Airport security footage revealed a sophisticated smuggling operation. Chinese nationals arriving on student and business visas carried chemical building blocks in specially designed luggage with false bottoms. The same individuals departed weeks later with suitcases containing vacuum-sealed fentanyl bound for Australia, where the drug crisis was just beginning. Every day, Chinese production materials arrived disguised as cleaning supplies. Every night, Georgia-cooked fentanyl departed on flights to Australia, where a single pound worth $700 in Atlanta sold for $230,000 in Sydney. The cartel had colonized Georgia completely, turning the state into a global fentanyl distribution hub. The investigation revealed economic warfare disguised as suburban business. The money trail led to a network of shell companies spanning from Nevada to Hong Kong. Ghost businesses that existed only on paper processed $410 million in poison money over just 2 years. DEA financial analyst Lisa Park spent months unraveling the money flow. Every dollar had been washed through at least 3 different companies. A drug sale in Atlanta became a consulting fee in Delaware, then an equipment purchase in Nevada, then a wire transfer to Hong Kong. Tucker agents raided what appeared to be a legitimate logistics company called Global Supply Chain Management. The facility housed 53 shipping containers that had moved precursor chemicals from Shenzhen to Georgia, then transported vacuum-sealed cash back to China. The shipping manifests told the story. Industrial cleaning solvents arriving from China contained the building blocks of fentanyl. Recycled electronics departing for China contained millions in drug profits. The operation was surgical, invisible, and devastatingly effective. Chinese suppliers provided the chemicals and expertise. Mexican cartels provided the distribution network and street-level dealers. Georgia had the perfect cover: busy airports, diverse communities, and suburban neighborhoods where no one asked questions. The human cost was staggering and growing daily. Gwinnett County alone saw overdose deaths spike 340% in 18 months. Teenagers as young as 14 were being recruited as couriers with promises of fast cash and expensive sneakers. Entire neighborhoods transformed into ghost zones where people were afraid to walk after dark. Emergency room physician Dr. Amanda Foster described the crisis as unprecedented. Hospitals went from seeing maybe 1 fentanyl overdose per month to 3 per day. These were just kids who thought they were taking Adderall to study for exams. The poison was killing people and destroying communities simultaneously. If this is happening in Georgia, it's happening everywhere. At 6:23 a.m., Agent Martinez's radio crackled with reports flooding in from across the state. Bravo team reported 47 kilograms seized and 6 suspects in custody. Charlie team announced $12 million in cash recovered and a pill press destroyed. Delta team discovered enough precursors to manufacture 200 kilograms of pure fentanyl. Echo team secured the airport connection with 3 Chinese nationals in custody. By noon, the numbers were staggering: 89 kilograms of pure fentanyl seized, enough lethal doses to kill every person in South Korea. The evidence rooms at FBI headquarters in Atlanta overflowed with seized materials. Industrial pill presses worth $500,000 each. Laboratory equipment that belonged in a pharmaceutical facility, not a suburban home. Precursor chemicals with shipping labels in Mandarin. Analysis revealed the operation's true scope. This single network was responsible for 23% of fentanyl deaths across the Southeast. They had been quietly poisoning American communities for years, hiding behind suburban normalcy. The 17 suspects arrested weren't street dealers. They were chemists with advanced degrees, logistics coordinators with legitimate business backgrounds, and financial engineers who had turned neighborhood homes into weapons of mass destruction. Agent Thompson, the operation commander, put the scale in perspective. This organization had a larger annual revenue than most Fortune 500 companies. The difference is they built their empire on American corpses. While federal agencies celebrated record seizures, the affected communities told a different story. Property values in targeted neighborhoods dropped 15% overnight as families fled areas they no longer considered safe. Parents now triple lock their doors and escort their children to school. Homeowners associations hired private security after residents reported suspicious activity at multiple properties. The psychological damage runs deeper than the drugs themselves. Teenagers recruited as couriers face felony charges that destroy their futures before they begin. Families torn apart by overdoses struggle with grief and unanswered questions about how their honor student ended up dead from a fake pill. Local schools reported a surge in anxiety among students. Kids are afraid to take any medication, even from their parents. They've lost faith in everything that looks like a pill. Maria Santos, a mother of 3 in Gwinnett County, described the pervasive fear. Residents look at every house differently now, wondering what's really happening behind those perfect lawns. Children ask why they can't trust their neighbors anymore. The most terrifying truth? This network operated for years without detection, hidden in plain sight in America's safest communities. Georgia's nightmare follows a proven blueprint that's being replicated nationwide. Intelligence suggests similar networks are operating in North Carolina, Tennessee, Florida, and Texas. Suburban homes that look like the American dream while manufacturing American nightmares. The cartel learned something crucial. The best place to hide a drug empire is in neighborhoods where no one expects to find it. Agent Martinez understood the strategy clearly. They weaponized American trust and turned communities against themselves. They knew no one would suspect the quiet family next door was cooking death in their basement. Today, those manufacturing facilities are silent. The poison pipeline is broken, and the $410 million empire has crumbled. The war continues because for every network destroyed, intelligence suggests 2 more are being built. The enemy has learned to hide in our neighborhoods, exploit our systems, and poison our children. The only defense is awareness. Communities that stay alert. Neighbors who ask questions and parents who know the warning signs. The agents who risked everything to expose this network deserve recognition and backup. They deserve communities that refuse to stay silent when evil tries to take root next door. This investigation exposed how close danger came to Georgia's safest neighborhoods. Similar networks are operating across America right now, hidden behind suburban normalcy. The agents who dismantled this $410 million empire are already tracking the next target. More raids are coming, and more networks will fall. Subscribe to stay informed as this story develops. The war against these poison pipelines continues, and the next breakthrough could happen in your state. Comment next if you want updates on the ongoing investigation.